You know, I really just can't get away from stone evolutions. Last week we played through Nidoking and Nidoqueen in Pokemon Sun and Moon, and they both did really good, both landing spots in the A tier. Today though, we're going to play with two other stone evolutions. I don't think they're going to play as well. Today, we're going to be seeing how fast Clefable and Wigglytuff can beat Pokemon Moon in a solo run challenge. Let's get straight into the video. Both of these Pokemon used to share one type. They were both normal types in Kanto. Now there's the Fairy type. Clefable is pure Fairy while Wigglytuff is normal Fairy. But I'm sure you guys know, Fairy types in this game get very limited Fairy type coverage, especially since there's only one Fairy type TM in the whole game. So if you don't get stuff by level up, you're out of luck. And obviously, since we're playing with stone evolutions, we're not going to get any level up moves at all. But before we talk about the moves, let's go over the stats. For Clefable, we have 95 HP, 70 attack, 73 defense, 95 special attack, which is pretty dang good, 90 special defense, and 60 speed. Wigglytuff gets 140 HP, 70 attack, 45 defense, 85 special attack, 50 special defense, and 45 speed. So yeah, we get extra HP, but with less defense and special defense, I'm not so sure if that's even worth it at that point. Thankfully though, both of these Pokemon are in the fast level up group, which I would argue is the best growth rate for Pokemon Sun and Moon, especially since late game training absolutely matters. Going back to our level up sets, both of our contenders get very similar level up moves. For Clefable, we're not going to have access to Spotlight or Disarming Voice, which means, yay, we gotta wait until Dazzling Gleam for a Fairy move. But in all seriousness though, our four starting moves are Sing, Double Slap, Minimize, and Metronome. Minimize in this game is actually quite busted. It boosts your evasion by 2 stages. It's very good. And Metronome is... yeah, I don't think I need to describe what Metronome does. And Wigglytuff's level up moveset is it starts with Sing, Double Slap, Defense Curl, and Disable. Quite a far worse starting set. At least Clefable gets Metronome in case I want to go luck based, but Wigglytuff is like, Double Slap, take it or leave it. The two move reminder moves are actually Double Edge and Play Rough. But since Wigglytuff is a special attacker, I don't think that's going to be any better than Dazzling Gleam. And if we also take a quick look at the TM coverage, both of our Pokemon get very identical TM sets, but there are slight differences. I'm going to talk about those differences. Clefable gets Psyshock and Calm Mind, while Wigglytuff gets Gyro Ball and Wild Charge. But other than that, we'll talk about the TMs that both of them actually get. They're both going to get access to Workup, Hidden Power, Ice Beam, Blizzard, Hyper Beam, Light Screen, and Reflect if we want to use any screens, Solar Beam, Thunder, Return, Psychic, Shadow Ball, Brick Break, Reflect, Flamethrower, Fire Blast, Facade, Echoed Voice, Focus Blast, Fling, Charge Beam, Giga Impact, Grass Knot, Dream Eater, and Dazzling Gleam. So on the bright side, we do get Charge Beam until we get Calm Mind for Clefable. But at the end of the day, both of our contenders will get Workup, so they will get a boost to special attack. Just like with the Nidoking and Nidoqueen run from last week, this might be another one of those instances where both of our Pokemon are going to be playing very similar runs. And they're going to be similar in other ways as well. For example, as we head our way to the normal type trial, let's take a look at our ability Hidden Power in Nature. Our ability is Unaware. This basically means when we do damage, we ignore the opponent's defense boosts, and if the opponent does damage to us, we get to ignore their boosted attacking stats. So for example, if the opponent uses Calm Mind, its special attacks will do the same damage to me as before, and my special attacks against it will do the same damage as before. I'm hoping that makes sense to you all. This obviously won't affect speed stats. Our Hidden Power typing will be Hidden Power Ground. This is probably the best Hidden Power typing you could ask for in Sun and Moon. It's great for the Fire Trial, it's great for all the Magnemites and Magnetons and Magnezones, and it's good for the Alolan Mucks too. Plus, for some Pokemon it helps with Olivia. And our Nature today is going to be Modest for extra special attack and less physical attack. You may be wondering why I'm not going to go with a plus speed nature. The main reason we're not using a plus speed nature is because 60 speed is already so horrendously bad. A plus speed nature really isn't going to help things, so we're just going to increase our special attack instead, especially since after melee, we're pretty much never going to be using physical moves again. Before we head to the normal trial, I want to talk about Teacher Emily. What I'm going to do for her Magnemite is I'm going to set up some minimizes and just spam Metronome and see if I can end up knocking her out. I get a bunch of completely random moves that really don't do anything, but the move that ends up knocking it out is actually Liquidation. So you know what? I'll take that. I've had a lot worse luck with Metronome in the past, but at least in Gen 7 there's a lot more good attacking moves than status moves, so it's not as bad as, let's say, Generation 2 Metronome. Inside of Howley City, I do quickly grab myself the Echoed Voice TM. This is going to be leagues better than Double Slap. Brick Break on Raticate Gobur. Before I fight Hala the Island Kahuna, I'm going to need to train to level 18 over a damage rounding threshold. I'm going to be fighting a lot of the trainers on Route 3. I do get an occasional blackout, such as this guy right here with the Slowpoke. This is one of those quote-unquote root kahunas. You have to fight every trainer in the area before you can fight him. He can be a bit tough, especially since his Slowpoke really does not like to receive damage. By the time I finish all the trainers, I'm only at level 17 instead of level 18. I was debating whether I actually wanted to train to 18 or go fight Hala anyway, and I'm like, you know what, let's just give Hala a quick try. I'm going to go into the fight holding the Normalium Z. No, I will not use this on Metronome. Although, fun fact, it would use the Z move of whatever move it tried to use. It doesn't work for status moves though. But turn 1 on the Mankey, I'm going to use the Normalium Z, and I'm going to go right away with Z Minimize. There was no reason to do this, all this did was just reset my lowered stats. But either way though, I do get a Minimize. Then I'm going to spam Echoed Voice. Echoed Voice will one-shot the Mankey, then I'm going to have to do a couple of hits on the Makuhita, and then last up is the Crab Brawler. I go for an Echoed Voice, it barely survives and hits me with all-out plummeting. Thankfully, Clefable is not a normal type anymore, and because of that, I can win on the very first try. I get a time of 27 minutes and 24 seconds. Not really a good Hala split, but let's see how well Wigglytuff can do. One advantage Wigglytuff will have is having the part normal type. You may be wondering how on earth is that going to help for Hala? The answer is Echoed Voice will actually get the same type attack bonus. Which, with how Echoed Voice works, almost doubling its power each turn, that extra 50% does add up quite fast. At Teacher Emily, I'm only going to have access to Double Slap here, but what I can do is I can get here at level 10, put the Magnemite to sleep, and you get access to the workup TM before you ever do this fight. So just set up some workups and then just slowly chip it down with Double Slap. I can also pick myself up the Echoed Voice TM, get a blackout on this farmer with his Butterfree because of Stun Spore, then inside the cave I can pick myself up the Brick Break TM. And yes, it does one-shot the Raticate. I will also go into the Hala fight with the Normalium Z as well. I'm going with a pretty similar strat. I'm also level 17 as well. I have Echoed Voice on the set. I'm going to go ahead and use 1 workup, 2 workups, then I'm going to use Z workup. So I go ahead and use Brick Break on the Makuhita. It is sadly going to be a 2-shot. The Crab Brawler outspeeds Wigglytuff, and I get knocked out with all-out plummeting. And I didn't think of saving before this fight, so I end up blacking out to the Verdant Cavern Pokemon Center, and I'm going to have to go run back. When I get back, I start to set up my workups again, and then when I get back to the Crab Brawler, I hit it with Brick Break, it goes for all-out plummeting, and I barely survive. This allows me to knock it out with Brick Break, and I can clock in with a time of 26 minutes and 44 seconds. I will say, this first island did not go the way I thought it would. I actually thought Clefable was going to build up a pretty early lead because I personally believe Clefable is a far better Pokemon, especially since its special attack is better. But looking at these splits, Clefable is actually behind Wigglytuff by 40 seconds. However, this is still the very first island. A lot can happen. Usually it's a Kala Island where if one of the Pokemon takes a lead, it's usually by a decent margin. We're going to go ahead and continue on with Wigglytuff through the next island of the game. We've got to take on the Water Trial, the Fire Trial, the Grass Trial, then the Olivia fight. I don't think any of them are going to be too particularly difficult, especially since we'll get Hidden Power Ground pretty soon. And as we finally get back to Wigglytuff, I forgot to go over its ability Hidden Power in Nature. Hidden Power Ground, Modest Nature, the exact same as Clefable, but our ability is actually going to be competitive. Basically what this is, if any of our stats go down, our special attack goes up by 2 stages. Before I get any extra items on Melee Island, I'm actually going to be getting the leftovers. The reason I need the leftovers is because I'm going to need them for a long SOS training session. What EVs am I going to need by the end of the game? I am going to need 140 special attack, 140 speed EVs, 56 attack, and 96 defense. I can pretty much get the defense from Marowak's, but it's going to take quite a bit of work to get that much special attack and speed. So the leftovers are going to be very useful. Hopefully our luck is good, because the last few times I got leftovers from Munchlax, I encountered it pretty quickly. It's not that bad. It only takes me just under 2 minutes to find it, so you know what? I'll take that. I also decided to skip the expert belt for now, and I do pick up the shell bell. You may be wondering why I need the shell bell when I have leftovers. Simple, I can sell it for $2,000. That's why. Also, on the first island, before you fight Hala, you can actually talk to a farmer guy on Route 3. He will actually give you a Soothe Bell to raise your friendship, but since you get returned so late in the game, I've tested this, a Pokemon with 0 friendship still gets max friendship before you ever get that TM, so I'm just gonna sell this for $2,000 as well. Okay, I take it back. I take the boat back to Melee to get the expert belt. Whoops. And before entering Paniola Town, I do go to this tree right here and pick myself up some pinch berries, just in case they're useful. And with a minus attack nature, the one pinch berry I cannot use is the Figgy Berry. If I use the Figgy Berry, I will get confused. I also defeat the rival here pretty easily, pick myself up the Hidden Power TM, the Amulet Coin, and before Brooked Hill, the Charge Beam TM. I don't exactly need this for special attack boosting since I have workup, but having electric coverage is going to be pretty good, because the next available attacking electric move we can get is pretty much Wild Charge on the 3rd island, or on the 4th island we can get Thunder. So yeah, very limited with electric coverage. But you know what? Charge Beam is going to be very good for Wishiwashi. The last couple of videos, this Wishiwashi has been becoming a massive threat. Hopefully we can put it back in its place. So let's go ahead and take on the Totem Wishiwashi. Thankfully, Growl won't matter here. Right away, I realized, oh shoot, I actually forgot to teach it. So I go for workup, get hit with a Growl, and competitive activates. This will give me +3 special attack at the end of the day, and then Echoed Voice just completely destroys everything. So yeah, I guess Charge Beam wasn't completely necessary. I'm just glad the Wishiwashi gave me a hand. I pick up the rest TM inside the Thrifty Mega Mart, as well as behind the Thrifty Mega Mart you can actually pick up an HP up. Most Pokemon I don't use this HP up for anything, I pretty much just sell it for vitamin money for the most part. Marowak training time. The reason I went back and grabbed the Expert Belt was because it'll boost the power of super effective moves by 20%, and with Hidden Power Ground in the Expert Belt, eventually these Marowaks will start becoming one-shots, although the first one isn't a one-shot and I get hit with Cursed Body. That's annoying, but I know for sure once I get level 25, I'll start one-shotting them. I just need to train here until I get level 28. If I get level 28, on the Salazzle, I can do Echoed Voice followed with Hidden Power Ground. Plus, doing the Marowak training gives me the defense CVs that I need. I'm not going to stay here until I get all 96 or whatever, but it does help. Plus, the XP is great too. As soon as I get level 28, we can start the Totem Salazzle fight. Right away, I didn't heal because the Magmar did some damage to me, but all it did was just use a Toxic turn 1. I hit it with one Echoed Voice, then I can knock it out with Hidden Power Ground. Thankfully though, I ended up getting hit with competitive 3 times in one turn, but it's not like it matters though, I died of poison damage. And on the second attempt, right away, it does hit me with Toxic. I decided to go Hidden Power Ground turn 1 to see if I could get a one-shot. Unfortunately, I don't get the one-shot, and I don't get hit with another Venom Drench, but thankfully I do knock out the Salazzle, but unfortunately Torment says, nope, we're not going to let you use Hidden Power Ground again, so I get another loss. Okay, 3rd time's the charm, I'm finally able to defeat the Salazzle. That should not have been that hard. Coming up now is the Lurantis fight. My plan for Lurantis is I'm going to go into the fight at level 30 with the Silk Scarf. If I also have at least 56 special attack EVs, Echoed Voice will be a guaranteed 3-hit on the Lurantis because getting hit with a move like Solar Blade is going to hurt extraordinarily bad. Although for some reason I decided as soon as I got level 30, I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to go ahead and give Lurantis a try anyway and not do the SOS training. I'm not so sure how good of an idea this is, but let's see how it goes, I guess. The Lurantis outspeeds and hits me with Solar Blade, doing less than half thanks to my good HP. Then the Trumbeak that gets sent out just uses Supersonic, and then I died to a critical hit. So yeah, that was a quick blackout. On the second attempt, the Trumbeak comes back out, I use Echoed Voice on the Trumbeak instead. Then on the third turn of Echoed Voice, I can just hit the Lurantis directly. I was wondering if it would kill from there, and it actually did, so you know what? I guess the special attack wasn't completely necessary. Before I go take on Olivia, as soon as I enter Coney Coney City just to get it on the fly map, I'm going to go back to the Brooked Hill. I'm going to pick myself up this rare candy and immediately go start SOS training on Psyduck. I was able to skip it for fighting Lurantis, but obviously I can't just skip it for the whole run, so I need to get started and get some EVs. Unfortunately though, I probably should have done the training before Lurantis. Hell, I should have just done this before Salazzle, you know why? When I find my very first Psyduck, I'm holding leftovers, right? I use one weak Echoed Voice, and it one-shots the Psyduck. That is actually very, very bad. I mean, we do have Charge Beam and Workup, so it's not like they're going to be completely useful right now, but I'm probably going to need to buy a bunch of extra calcium and do a bunch of training at the Mimikyu Ghost Trial. But you know what? Let's just go ahead and take on Olivia right now. I feel like with Charge Beam or Workup combined with Hidden Power Ground, I feel like this will be a pretty easy Kahuna fight. I'm going into this fight with the Amulet coin either because I wasn't worried or I didn't have a Cherry Berry. Right away, I go for a Charge Beam, I get a special attack boost, but then I get paralyzed. That is a bit concerning. I really should have used a Cherry Berry or a Lum Berry or some. Then again, I did this run a while ago, I probably didn't have one. I'm going to give myself the benefit of the doubt here. Thankfully the Boldore isn't doing too much damage, but the reason I die is just because I keep not moving from paralysis way too many times. This gets my health low enough for Continental Crush to destroy me. To be fair, I think it would have destroyed me even at full health. I get several more resets here before I change plans. I'm going to go into the fight with Rest and the Normalium Z. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use the move Z Sing. Using the Normalium Z with Sing actually gives me +1 speed. The reason I need +1 speed is because I do not outspeed the Lycanroc at all. And I'm thinking, you know what, maybe outspeeding the Lycanroc can help. If my health gets too low on the Boldore, I can quickly just rest up real quick, then when the Lycanroc comes out, it goes for Continental Crush. I actually survived, which kind of surprised me. Then I can knock it out with Hidden Power Ground and get myself a split of 1 hour, 6 minutes, and 9 seconds. That was not a good Akala Island split. Let's see how well Clefable can do. With Clefable on Melee Island, the only thing I get is the Expert Belt and the Shell Belt. I will not be getting leftovers. I don't need as many EVs as Wigglytuff does. I just need 128 speed, 132 special attack, and 72 defense. 132 special attack is still quite a decent bit, but I don't need as many speed EVs, so I can just buy all the Carbos I want and just fight some Fearos if needed. And for special attack, Calcium and the Ghost Trial. I grab myself the same TMs before Wishy-Washy, and then on the Wishy-Washy, I actually get Charge Beam. The reason I decided to get Charge Beam with this is because without competitive, I'm going to have to get the special attack boost myself. It's still very annoying though that the Alomomola constantly keeps healing it, and I did miss at least one Charge Beam. I decided to just take out the Alomomola right away, and the Wishy-Washy sends out another Wishy-Washy. I go ahead and use Charge Beam to knock out the totem, and then the weakling Wishy-Washy just uses Aqua Ring. So yeah, both of our Pokemon got reset free Wishy-Washies. How rare in the last couple of weeks. For the Alolan Marowaks at Wella Volcano Park, with my higher special attack and the Expert Bell with Hidden Power Ground, I can actually consistently one-shot these guys. I'm gonna train here for a bit longer though. I'm planning to get level 29 here. Not because I need it for the Salazzle, it's because I do need level 31 for the Lurantis. And I do need the defense CVs, so I'm gonna stay here for a bit longer than Wigglytuff did. Although with the fast level up group, it's really not that long. And once I finish up all the training that I need, I can arrive at the Salazzle with 73 defense CVs. What I'm going to do right away while still holding the Expert Bell, I go right away for Hidden Power Ground. It outspeeds and hits me with Toxic, but I one-shot it. Yep, that's what happens when you got extra special attack. Cue our semi-regular reset to this girl's Miltank cause of Bide, and we can head our way to Lurantis. Thankfully, our defense is not as bad as Wigglytuff, but with our lowered HP, Solar Blade still does quite a similar amount of health. I do misclick and go for Hidden Power Ground on the Lurantis instead of Echoed Voice. What my plan here is supposed to be is I need to arrive at this fight at level 31 with Echoed Voice, Sing, and the Normalium Z. That way I can use Z Sing on turn 1 to get a speed boost and spam Echoed Voice. Unfortunately, I played this first fight like an idiot. On turn 2, I go for Z Sing, and let's see if the Sing part actually hits. And it does. But fun fact, they still summon Help in their sleep. That's pretty stupid. And right away, I will start the Echoed Voice sweep. Unfortunately, even at the +1, it still outspeeds me. But you know what? It being asleep is going to help make the fight a bit better. Unfortunately, while it is charging Solar Blade, I get hit with Supersonic. And will I be able to hit the Lurantis? Oh wait, I still don't outspeed. I just said that. On the third attempt, I am able to finally defeat the Lurantis. I had to be a bit creative with how I used my Echoed Voices though. This is the one disadvantage Clefable has here that Wigglytuff didn't have, is that Wigglytuff had access to Stab Echoed Voice. Clefable does not. That makes a huge difference with the power. Before I fight Olivia, I fly back to the lush jungle, go inside this little tree tunnel right here, and I'm going to pick myself up a very useful TM. I'm going to be getting the TM for Grass Knot. This is a very good move for heavier targets, and Nosepass and Boldore are pretty decently heavy targets on Olivia's team. On the Nosepass turn 1, I'm going to use Charge Beam just to get a special attack boost, and for some reason she didn't use Thunder Wave until turn 2. You know what, I'll take it though. Then on the Boldore, I still outspeed, and I'm going to hit it with Grass Knot, followed by another Grass Knot. Next up is the Lycanroc. It just goes for Rock Throw. The reason it goes for Rock Throw is simply just because it detected its Z move wouldn't do enough damage. I have tended to notice they try not to use their Z moves unless they're about to die, but at the same time, it's not really that consistent. I really do not know how their AI works with Z moves, but either way, Clefable beats Olivia on the first try with a real time of 1 hour, 3 minutes, and 27 seconds. Yep, there we go, just as I predicted. Clefable has taken the lead from Wigglytuff. I think what really helped Clefable take the lead was because of its higher special attack. It was able to do training on the Marowaks just more efficiently. Although, the lead isn't that much. It's ahead, yeah sure, but it's only by just under 3 minutes. This kind of lead can easily be taken back by Wigglytuff if the next 2 islands go good. So you know what? I'm very curious. Why don't we continue on with Clefable and see how well the Ula Ula section goes? We're going to get access to some pretty decent upgrades there. Unfortunately though, some of our best upgrades are going to have to wait until Pawnee Island. But when we're on Ula Ula, we'll have to take on the Electric Trial, the Ghost type Trial, and the Dark type Kahuna fight with Nanu. So why don't we go see how those go for Clefable. While I go through the Aether Foundation, I do want to say the day I was recording Clefable in my Discord server, I was actually so tired. I actually stopped the run after Olivia, and I continued this run the very next day. Then afterwards I immediately played Wigglytuff. It's not like that's going to affect anything though, but I just wanted to let you know that. I have my video footage as 2 separate files, so I think before I upload this for members, I'm going to have to put it in an editor and combine the 2 into one video. And I'm sure you can guess, but for how? He completely destroyed me with Raichu. That's just par for the core in this game. There's no valuable TMs we can get in Mali City either. We can just head our way up towards Mount Hakanali. And before I decide to buy any vitamins, I'm gonna go fight Mullane in front of the observatory, just because if I can enter the observatory, I will get access to a comet shard that sells for $30,000. That's enough for 3 entire vitamins. But he does have a bunch of steel types which may be difficult. This is another spot where Hidden Power Ground is good. I mean, obviously not for the Skarmory, but at least Skarmory is weak to Charge Beam, so I can just 2-hit it pretty easily. And today's vitamin of the day is 4 Carbos and 9 Calcium. Since Clefable wasn't able to get the EVs as easily for special attack, I'm gonna have to buy a bunch of Calcium here. Wigglytuff is gonna have to do a similar thing as well. I can get the rest of my special attack EVs from the Ghost Trial, just by rematching the Ghastly, Haunter, and Gengar. But you know what? Why don't we go check out Vikavolt now? We're right here, aren't we? Turn 1 on the Vikavolt, I didn't heal because one of the previous Charge-a-Bugs did some damage to me. It does go for charge, giving it a special defense boost. That's not good. Then Spark paralyzes me. I'm like, yeah, I don't think I'm gonna win this fight. I decide to try and go for Breakneck Blitz just to see what happens, and I do defeat the Vikavolt. Okay, let's see if I can knock out the Charge-a-Bug. I'm gonna go for Hidden Power Ground and actually win. You know, I actually thought I was going to lose this fight, but thankfully I was proven wrong. After the electric trial is done, I have to go fight Guzma for the first time, and like an absolute idiot, I think I was pulling a Scott's Thoughts moment. Instead of going for Charge Beam, I was trying to put it to sleep with Sing, and obviously all 3 of the Sings missed. You know what, I completely deserve that reset. Better yet, I could have just used the Electrium Z here just to make Charge Beam better. Thankfully, our solution for the Mimikyu Ghost Trial coming up next is going to be pretty simple. We get access to the Shadow Ball TM, which is available right before the abandoned Thrifty Megamart. So I'm going to go ahead and grab myself Shadow Ball and just rematch the ghosts in this trial here all over again just to get special attack EVs. Every trip through here will give me 6. 1 from the Ghastly, 2 from the Haunter, and 3 from the Gengar. Then what I have to do is manually walk back out, then go back in. And then when I defeat Mimikyu at the end, it'll usually summon a Haunter. I'll get 4 special attack EVs from that because it's technically an SOS battle. And not only do I have Charge Beam and Shadow Ball, I also have the Psychic TM as well. My moveset is becoming extremely goated. I mean, Wigglytuff is going to get all these moves as well, but Clefable has the higher special attacking stat. I continue rematching these ghosts until I get to 130 special attack EVs. I feel like I'm good from here, so why don't we go ahead and take on the Mimikyu. I'm level 40 for this fight. It goes for Mimic turn 1, which is pretty lucky for me because the alternative was it hitting me with Play Rough for okay damage. The Mimikyu is unfortunately going to have to be a 2-hit with Shadow Ball though. I'm honestly kinda surprised I won 2 totem fights in a row due to very lucky circumstances. First, the Vikavolt going very well despite being paralyzed. Now the Mimikyu just going turn 1 Mimic on the very first try. Dude, Clefable is just destroying so far. But the question is it enough to get a good time? I'm not so sure. The first island was still pretty bad. On my way up to Po Town, I have to catch a Finian for a second Pokemon to enter Po Town with, and I accidentally encounter Swimmer Alexandria. She leads with a Love Disc. I'm at low HP and poisoned. You want to know why I'm poisoned? I got poisoned from the Plumera fight in front of the Aether House, and because of that, I have to black out here. And this was right after I just caught the Finian, and for some reason, her Corsola really did not want to attack me. I swear, these NPCs do that just to piss me off. And also, before I enter Po Town, I'm actually going to fly back to Paniola Town, and I'm going to get some Pinch Berries. I'm actually going to need a Pinch Berry for the Nanu fight, and not only that, I will also need level 45. so I'm going to do a bunch of training in the Ula Ula Meadows, as well as fight some Fearow on Route 10. I'm still going to need a bit more speed EVs, so I'm going to do this as well. Plus the Fearow give okay experience points. I get to level 45, I have no issues in the entirety of Poketown, and now we can go take on Nanu. I go into this fight with the Wiki Berry, so I will not get confused. On turn 1, I'm going to go for Charge Beam and I miss. You know what? Great start. And then the Sableye does get me to a quarter HP or lower. This activates the Pinch Berry, putting me back into green health. Then I can continue using Charge Beam. Next up is the Croc Rock. I get hit with Intimidate, but it's not like that's going to matter, although it does outspeed and hit me with Swagger. Okay, hopefully I don't hit myself. I decide what move to go for. In the end, I go for Grass Knot. I get hit with Fake Out, and then Power Gem leaves me at low health, giving me a chance to win. But you know what happened? I hit myself in Confusion. Yep, I think we all saw that coming. At 9 blackouts and 5 resets into the run, I make it back to the Persian, but will I actually be able to knock it out with Grass Knot? I do not, apparently. But thankfully, since I resist Dark-type moves, he is not going for Black Hole Eclipse, so I can actually knock it out with just a few more Grass Knots. I defeat Nanu with a time of 1 hour, 39 minutes, and 22 seconds. At the How fight in Mali City, I still do lose to him anyway, but not to the Raichu. Because of my better bulk, I'm actually able to knock out the Raichu and the Flareon. The only reason I die is the Brionne hits me with Hydro Vortex. There is going to be one TM here I buy, and that is actually going to be the TM for Facade. I didn't get this with Clefable because Clefable did not get the same type attack bonus from it, while Wigglytuff does, and it's going to be a pretty okay move. For my vitamin of the day, I just buy 8 calcium and 3 iron. The 8 calcium will get me to as close to 100 as possible without wasting a calcium, and I just get a few extra iron because I was still a little bit short on defense. I am still gonna probably have to train in the Ghost Trial for a bit longer, because Wigglytuff is going to need more special attack EVs than Clefable did, and that should just be a given because its special attack is 10 points lower. But on the bright side with the fast level up group, I level up to level 38 during the Mullane fight, so that's actually pretty nice. Seeing how close it was for Clefable to defeat Vikavolt, I decided before Wigglytuff fights Vikavolt, I'm actually going to go back to Route 10 and do some more training on Fearow, not only for the XP, but also to get myself the speed EVs that I'm going to need. Once all that is done, I'm actually going to do a pretty interesting strat. I'm going to be taking advantage of Facade for the fight, kind of like how I did with the Raticates a few weeks ago. However though, I do want to mention the Alolan Grimer in this grass at the trainer school is a 20% encounter, and for some reason it took Wigglytuff so many tries just to find it. The reason I need to find Grimer specifically is it has not only the move Poison Gas, but also the ability Poison Touch, where if it hits me with a move, there's a chance I get poisoned. And as soon as I get poisoned, we're going to go back and fight the Vikavolt. Right away on the Vikavolt on turn 1, for some reason I take my time deciding what to do, then I go for Facade and it does about 2/3. Then I go for one more Facade and it knocks it out. Then the third Facade will one-shot the Charjabug, obviously. And just like with Clefable, I will also get the Shadow Ball TM for the Ghost Trial. But like I said earlier, I'm going to need to do some training in here for special attack EVs. You may be wondering if it's worth just coming back here after the trial where there are wild Pokemon. The answer to that is no, because the wild pool gets filled with Golbats. And besides, there are no wild Gengars here. I continue training here for special attack until I get 134 special attack EVs. I will get another 4 from the Haunter during the Mimikyu fight, so I'll get pretty close to my goal. I'm going into this fight with the Expert Belt. I do get hit with Play Rough. It lowers my attack, but it activates Competitive. And yeah, that's clearly gonna one-shot the Mimikyu. That was actually pretty funny. I'm really happy that I have this ability. If only Clefable had it. I get no resets or blackouts from here all the way through Poketown, and I can make my way to Nanu. I'm going to be taking him on at level 45. You may be wondering why I'm keeping Sing this whole time. There are going to be later fights where I need the speed boost from Z Sing, but I'm not going to need it for Nanu right now. After I defeat the Sableye, Crocorock's Intimidate does activate competitive. So you know what, that does answer my question from earlier. And then on the Persian, Power Gem doesn't hit me for very much. It activates the Ayapa Berry, which is one of the pinch berries. My health gets restored back to green health, and I can knock it out from there. And Wigglytuff is able to defeat Nanu with a time of 1 hour, 46 minutes, and 1 second. So yeah, no, the lead that Clefable had has now expanded, almost doubled. It is now leading Wigglytuff by 5 minutes and 39 seconds. You know, I think what really is holding Wigglytuff back right now is pretty much just the time it took to find a poison user just to activate Facade. But not only that, it's also the extra special attack training I needed. But it's just very unfortunate that Clefable's better, but I think we all knew this. Even back in the olden days of Generation 1, Clefable was like an A-tier Pokemon. Wigglytuff, on the other hand, not so much. Even though they both get access to very similar moves, the difference in base stats really does murder Wigglytuff here. Although I will say though, if both of these Pokemon had access to better moves, like if they both had Dazzling Gleam at level 1, and maybe Wigglytuff, oh I don't know, started with some sort of special attacking normal type move. Better yet, why doesn't this thing start with Hyper Voice at level 1? Give this thing Hyper Voice. You know what, it doesn't matter though. We're going to continue on with Wigglytuff, and we're going to head our way into the 4th and final island of the game. The one advantage both of our competitors have compared to other Pokemon is that the moveset coverage is very, very good. I don't really have to worry about moveset coverage during the Aether Paradise at all. Unfortunately, I do get one blackout here as Wigglytuff, simply just because for Faba in his Hypno, I actually forgot to heal and I arrive at red health. But at least the blackout was pretty quick. I also do first try the Guzma fight at the end, but unfortunately Lucamine number 1 doesn't go so well. She leads off with Clefable and I use Wigglytuff, obviously. I'm going to go ahead and start using some charge beams, and unfortunately the Clefable has Moonblast. You may be wondering why I'm not going to get Moonblast. It only learns it as a Clefairy. So that's going to be one huge disadvantage for me today. And not only that, Moonblast also has a chance of lowering special attack, and obviously Fairy does not resist Fairy, and by the time I'm finally able to defeat the Clefable, the Lilligant just knocks me out anyway. As we arrive at Pawnee Island to do some training, I'm going to need level 59 for Habu. With most Pokemon, that is going to be an absolute nightmare to grind for. I would have to use rare candies, but since Wigglytuff is in the fast level up group, it will not be that hard. And unfortunately, on this island, guess what we don't get access to? Calm Mind. Only Clefable gets that. But there are some other things here I do want to buy. I'm not able to buy Calm Mind, but I do go ahead and purchase myself the TM for Blizzard. I decide to pick up Focus Blast as well, just in case. Blizzard's going to be pretty useful for the Habu fight. After I do pretty much all the training here, plus a bunch of wild Pokemon, I end up at level 58, but since I looked at my special attack EVs, I'm actually slightly higher than expected, and because of that, Eel Stargetta, who is in the Discord server with me during this run, he mentioned with my slightly extra special attack EVs, I actually don't need level 59. So I stop what I'm doing, I go around the region and get the rest of the rare candies before I head into the canyon, which is honestly the most efficient way to do it. I've got to stop doing what I've been doing in previous runs, where I would go through the canyon then get the candies. I should just get the candies before doing the canyon. You know what, it doesn't matter though. I'm going to enter the fight at level 58, holding the Normalium Z with Blizzard, Sing, Grass Knot, and Workup. So why don't we go see how well this fight goes. Right away on turn 1, I go for Blizzard as Dugtrio hits Sandstorm. This activates Sand Veil, making Blizzard less accurate. And when I do hit the Blizzard, it doesn't end up killing it, it leaves it at red health. Okay, I see what I need to do now. On the second attempt, I'm going to go ahead and use a Workup right away. And unfortunately, without Calm Mind, the only way we can set up our special attack is with Workup. We can't use Calm Mind or anything. And I do get hit with a very massive Iron Head in between that. I essentially need to hope for a Sandstorm. And not only that, I'm going to be using Z Sing as well to outspeed the Dugtrio, but I also do need it to go to sleep. Once the Dugtrio goes to sleep, I am able to use one Workup. Then I'm able to knock out the Doug trio. Next up is the Mudsdale. It is going to be a one hit with Grass Knot, although my health is getting very dangerously low. On the Gastrodon, I have to hope Grass Knot one hits, and thankfully it does. You may be saying, well, it's 4 times effective. Gastrodon is not a heavy Pokemon, so I was actually kind of surprised it still knocked it out. And then last up is the Flygon. I can take it out with one Blizzard, but you'll never guess what happened. Blizzard missed. So yep, I gotta do all that Doug Trio luck all over again. Because of that unfortunate incident with the Flygon, and I have to go back to the Doug Trio and fishing for luck again, it takes me a lot more resets to beat her. It takes me until 17 resets into the run to finally get the luck I need on the Doug Trio, make my way to the Flygon, and actually one-shot it with Blizzard. So yeah, that was extremely rough. Thankfully though, we really don't have to worry about using any candies for Lusamine, but for Gladion, we do need to use rare candies to get level 78. And since we will have access to all 12 candies, I only really have to grind till level 66. And I'm starting the canyon at level 58. But like I said, we are in the fast level up group, so it's actually not going to be as hard as it could have been. Plus also, while I do the training in here, I can finally get access to a fairy type move. Dazzling Gleam. Unfortunately, I couldn't get Play Rough because the move relearner is at the Pokemon League. I can use Dazzling Gleam in addition to the Fairy MZ if I need to use it, and I decide for funsies, I'm going to fight Black Belt Earl. I often like to call him Chuck because he has one Poliwrath and he has Hypnosis, Mind Reader, and Dynamic Punch. He doesn't have Surf though, but instead sometimes uses Submission. But on this guy, I decided to go for Twinkle Tackle. I really like that cute little dance. And I just one-shot it. It was probably unnecessary to do that. I just wanted to do it for the lulz. By the time I defeat Veteran Eric, I'm only level 62. I am pretty close to getting level 66, but nowhere near there yet. If I always need to, I could just blackout train to Gladion just to get the level I need. Obviously, the Fairy MZ and Dazzling Gleam is going to make the Komodo here an absolute joke. And I decide, you know what, instead of fighting Lusamine right away, or blackout training to Gladion, I actually go back into the Pawnee Canyon and fight a bunch of wild Pokemon just to get level 65. I'm gonna have to hope that Lusamine gets me as close to 66 as possible, and if I still need a bit more, I can just do one blackout to Gladion. I'm not sure how efficient that was compared to just going straight to Gladion for the blackout training, but either way, I'm able to enter the Ultra Space Wilds and save the game before Lusamine with a time of 2 hours, 38 minutes, and 23 seconds. Hopefully, Clefable can get an even bigger lead because I think it's pretty clear Wigglytuff is not going to win this thing. The Aether Paradise goes pretty much the exact same way as Wigglytuff, just instead of getting a reset to Faba, I do beat him on the first try. Although I will say I still do lose to Lusamine. I'm going to need to buy quite a bit of TMs here. I'm going to be purchasing Calm Mind, Blizzard, and Solar Beam. I end up a little short on money, so I actually fly back to Melee Island to pick up a nugget. I usually only pick this nugget up when getting leftovers. But I go pick it up, sell it, and I have enough to buy everything here. Good news for Clefable? Well, Clefable doesn't really need good news because it's already in the lead. I only need level 55 for Hapu, but I am going to have to candy to 75 for Lusamine. So, yeah, it's not as much training as Wigglytuff, although I'm going to have to do more training in the canyon, which it's a better source of training anyway. Once I get to level 55, I'm going to go into the fight with a pretty interesting learn set. I'm going to be using Psychic, Sunny Day, Solar Beam, Blizzard with the Fire Z. I hope you guys remember what the weather moves do as their Z move. They will actually give me +1 to my speed. And plus with Sunny Day, I can one-shot the Doug Trio with Solar Beam, then the Mudsdale, then the Gastrodon, then I can go ahead and use Blizzard for the Flygon. It does miss though, but thankfully I get another chance. If you're wondering if Sunny Day ruins Blizzard's accuracy, it does not. It only ruins the accuracy of Thunder. And since I'm going to need level 75 for Lusamine after candies, I'm going to need to train all the way till level 63. Thankfully though, fast level up group. By the time I defeat the Komodo, I'm at level 62, I gain experience, and I'm so close to level 63. Just not quite. I should have defeated one extra wild Pokemon. As I go around the Alola region though to pick up the rest of the rare candies, I defeat one wild Pokemon in the canyon to get to level 63. And now from here, I can use my candies to get level 75. And then I can go ahead and enter the Ultra Space Wormhole, and I actually don't save before Lucamine because I'm super confident. But either way, I enter here with a time of 2 hours, 20 minutes, and 18 seconds. Dude, this is such a one-sided race, it's not even funny. How on earth do we go from Clefable leading by 5 minutes and 39 seconds to Clefable leading by 18 minutes and 5 seconds? That's almost 2 entire tiers on my tier list worth of a gap. The deficit is ever so widening. So to all you Wigglytuff fans out there, and to Guildmaster Wigglytuff, I am so sorry. Clefable just always outclasses you. I don't think there's a single Pokemon game out there in a solo run where Wigglytuff can do better. But if you have an idea, let me know in the comments. I am pretty curious. Anyway, let's go ahead and take on the final 8 trainers. Wigglytuff has to use the candies before Gladion though, so Clefable's going to be a much higher level. So why don't we start off with Clefable at Lucamine. Right away on Lucamine's Clefable, I have Psychic, Hidden Power, Dazzling Gleam, and Calm Mind. I'm going to set up some Calm Minds, and right before I could knock it out, it actually metronomes the move Dive, so it was able to survive for a turn longer. But that's fine though, because of my ability Unaware, even if it uses Cosmic Power, it doesn't mean jack to me. I can then almost one-shot the rest of her team from there, making a very easy fight. Wigglytuff has to use a different strat. I'm going into the fight with Dazzling Gleam, Sing, Gyro Ball, and Workup. I do get competitive off because the Clefable lowered my stat with whatever move it just metronomed, so I go ahead and use my Steelium Z to use Corkscrew Crash. This will allow the Clefable to be a one-shot. Next up is the Lilligant. The Lilligant does so much damage to me and I'm at such low health. The Melodic though, for some reason, just goes for Safeguard. And last up is the Mismagius. Watch the Mismagius go for Paint Split instead of killing me. Yep, called it. Dude, why is she always so hell-bent on using that move? Gladion leads off with Crobat. I still have the same moves, no need to set up. Psychic one-shots the Crobat. Then I can switch to Dazzling Gleam for the Weavile. Then on the Lucario, I'll continue using Dazzling Gleam. It does outspeed and use Corkscrew Crash. Thankfully, it's based on Bullet Punch, so it wasn't that powerful, and I am able to survive. Unfortunately though, the Silvally does outspeed me and I get a loss. I'm gonna go ahead and add the Normalium Z and Safeguard to my moveset. Using Z Safeguard actually gives me +1 to my speed. This should make the fight more consistent. I will actually outspeed the Weavile in one shot with Dazzling Gleam. Hopefully I outspeed the Lucario, and I do. I'm pretty sure if a Z move is based on a priority move, that Z move does not get priority. I'm pretty sure of it, but I can easily be proven wrong. With Wigglytuff before Gladion, I'm only level 65. I'm not level 66 just yet. Hopefully I can still win. I go ahead and use one Workup to get +1 special attack, and then it's going to be a simple, well, it would have been a 2-hit with Dazzling Gleam, but unfortunately the Crobat crit me at the very last minute. I go back into the fight with Psychic so I can one-shot the Crobat. Then on the Weavile, I will use the Steelium Z and Corkscrew Crash to defeat the Weavile. I'm so close to level 66. Then the Lucario outspeeds and hits me with its own Corkscrew Crash. After I get that second Blackout, I decide with how little XP I need, I fight one wild Pokemon, get level 66, then I will use all 12 candies to get level 78. And with access to level 78, this fight is a lot easier. Finally, we can move back to Clefable. We gotta take on How, and since we're playing at night and I didn't set the time to midnight, we're gonna have to deal with Blizzard unfortunately. Right away, turn 1, I'll use Safeguard. I have no idea why I did that. Maybe to block Paralysis from Thunderbolt or something, but I don't know, that was not a good idea. But either way, I set up a couple of Calm Minds, and I can begin the sweep. Dazzling Gleam one-shots the Raichu, and then on the Flareon, it ends up living because I was kind of an idiot. I used Dazzling Gleam on it instead of Psychic, so yeah, that was 100% my fault. On the second attempt, when I get back to the Flareon, I do use Psychic. It's going to be a 2-hit anyway. Then on the Kamala, I decide to go for a Calm Mind, and it hits me with Wood Hammer, and that Wood Hammer may not be enough to kill me, but it still ended up knocking me out just because it has Shadow Claw and it outspeeds me. Dude, I have no idea why I'm playing this fight so bad. What I should have done was just use Calm Minds on the Raichu and hold a Shell Bell or Citrus Berry or something. I don't know why I keep constantly dying here. Maybe the reason I did all these blackouts was to get level 76, maybe I needed one extra level, but honestly I'm not sure how much the extra level matters. But looking back at my notes, it does say I need to be level 76 at the start of the How fight. So you know what, Eel was the one that routed this for me, so I'm going to go ahead and trust his instincts. For Wigglytuff, before I fight How, I'm actually going to go to the move relearner. I'm actually going to teach Double Edge. I didn't get return this run because I actually need the extra damage output with Double Edge. On How's Alolan Raichu, on turn 1, I'm going to hit it with Hidden Power Ground for a 1-hit. It did crit, which may have mattered, but I don't know. Then on the Flareon, Flareon has way higher special defense than defense, so I'm going to go ahead and hit it with Double Edge. Then I can Focus Blast the Kamala. It does take me 2 tries because the first one missed. Then, on the Primarina, I will use Breakneck Blitz based on Double Edge. This will give me the 1-hit. And I do win on the first try, but it's still very obvious that Wigglytuff is still going to lose to Clefable. But you know what? We're so close to the end. Why don't we go ahead and take on the final 5 trainers for both of them? Let's do this shit. Starting off with Clefable, we're going to fight Hala first. I'm going into the fight with the Expert Belt and Dazzling Gleam. I'm not even going to need to do any setup here. Dazzling Gleam just one-shots his entire team. The first member of the Elite Four I'm going to take on with Wigglytuff is Acerola. On Acerola, I'm holding a Person Berry and I'm going to be using Shadow Ball, Sing, Double Edge, and Workup. The whole plan here is just to use one Workup until the Person Berry goes away thanks to Confuse Ray, and then I essentially just sweep with Shadow Ball. The Frostlass will outspeed and hit me with its own Confuse Ray, but hitting yourself in confusion is only 30%, which obviously means I am going to hit myself at least once. The Palossand though does end up lowering one of my stats activating competitive. I'm not sure how much this matters, but I am able to one-shot the Drifblim after that. Clefable is also going to fight Acerola. Their second and first Elite Four members are actually swapped in this run. What I'm going to do on the Sableye is go for Z Safeguard. This will not only give me a speed boost, but also block Confuse Ray. Then I can go ahead and just sweep her entire team with Dazzling Gleam. It's a relatively pretty simple fight. And for Wigglytuff, the second member I fight is Hala. Things are pretty much identical to how Clefable did it, although this time I actually don't hold an Expert Belt, simply just because I'm a few levels higher than Clefable was at this point, so I didn't think of it as completely necessary. And I was right, the Expert Belt for Wigglytuff is not necessary. The third and fourth Elite Four members that they take on are also swapped. Clefable is going to take on Kahili, while Wigglytuff takes on Olivia. So let's go see how Kahili does for Clefable. Kahili's lead Skarmory does have Steel Wing, which will do super effective damage, but after I use a Calm Mind, I'm going to use Z Safeguard to give myself +1 speed. And with +1 speed and +1 special attack, Dazzling Gleam and Charge Beam will just one-shot her entire team. Now, let's see how Olivia goes for Wigglytuff. It is so strange seeing Wigglytuff facing Olivia with a majority of its moves being the normal type. I'm going into this fight with Grass Knot, Sing, Double Edge Workup, and the Grassium Z. I'm going to go ahead and use one Workup. I'm going to get hit with Yawn, so I decided to put the Relicanth to sleep with Sing, and I'm going to see who wakes up first. Unfortunately, the Relicanth wakes up first, but thankfully it wasn't able to do too much to me. And at +1 special attack, Grass Knot will one-shot the Lycanroc, and I'm going to use the Grassium Z to use Bloom Doom for the Carbink. Carbink is extraordinarily light, and very bulky. And thankfully Grass Knot is a clean 2-shot on the Probopass, And it is not a clean 2-shot on Golem just because it's really desperately trying to 1-shot, activating all of her full restores. Alrighty, now it's Clefable's turn for Olivia. This fight is relatively similar. I also have the Grass Knot with Grass EMZ, but I have Calm Mind instead of Workup. I do have Dazzling Gleam as well, just in case I need it. Unfortunately though, the Lycanroc does survive Grass Knot, and it does hit me with Continental Crush. Thankfully it only does less than half, then I can use Bloom Doom on the Carbink, and then 2-shot the Probopass, and hopefully Golem doesn't do too much damage, and thankfully it doesn't. Thunder Punch isn't the best move in the world. And now Clefable is ready to take on Kukui, but before we do that, Wigglytuff has to fight Kahili. For Kahili against Wigglytuff, I'm going in with Dazzling Gleam, Sing, Double Edge, and Charge Beam. I'm going to go ahead and just spam Charge Beam over and over on the Skarmory until it eventually dies. Thankfully, because of Sturdy, I'm able to get off 2 extra Charge Beams, giving myself a bit extra special attack. Then I can use Dazzling Gleam for the Mandibuzz, and then the Crobat comes out. It's going to hit me with a Poison Fang, thankfully not a Supersonic. I do get badly poisoned though, but because of the leftovers, I am able to keep my health up. Honestly, looking back at this, I don't think it was a good idea to get leftovers for Wigglytuff. I hardly got to utilize them. I really should have though. But you know what though? It doesn't matter, and we pretty much all know Clefable's going to win. But how much though? Can Wigglytuff at least reduce the deficit just a little bit? Only one way to find out. For Clefable, I'm going into the Kukui fight with the Normalium Z, Dazzling Gleam, Safeguard, Focus Blast, and Calm Mind. Right away I go for 2 Calm Minds, and then Stone Edge does a lot of damage, and I get a quick reset because of it. What I need to happen is I have to use 2 Calm Minds on Lycanroc specifically, then use Z Safeguard to get +1 speed. I do need at least 1 Stone Edge miss though in order for that to happen. You may be wondering why I can't just set up on the second Pokemon. The second Pokemon that's going to come out is the Magnezone, and it's going to hit me with Flash Cannon if I don't have the setup. So I go ahead and defeat the Lycanroc, and then next up is the Magnezone. It's going to be a clean 2-shot with Dazzling Gleam, and thankfully because of the Calm Minds, Flash Cannon leaves me at 4 hit points remaining. I just hope none of his Pokemon have priority moves. Thankfully, I am able to land the Focus Blast on the Snorlax, then I can Dazzling Gleam the Incineroar. Last up is the Ninetales. Oh, it had Ice Shard. Well, shoot. My luck here does get extraordinarily bad. I get 20 resets by the end of the run, and then I'm finally able to defeat Kukui's Ninetales. But as soon as I defeat Kukui, I can clock in with a real time of 2 hours, 40 minutes, and 11 seconds, with 20 resets, 11 blackouts at level 79, with a game time after the credits of 10 hours and 17 minutes. With Wigglytuff, I've been holding on to the same 3 normal moves almost the entire league. What I'm going to do turn 1 is use Z Sing, hopefully put it to sleep, and thankfully I do. I go ahead and use 2 workups and it stays asleep. This was absolutely perfect. And then next up is the Magnezone. I'm going to have to put it to sleep to prevent Thunder Wave, and thankfully it is able to stay asleep. Wow, I'm actually getting all the Sing luck I need. Can I actually first try this? Braviary is a 1-hit with Dazzling Gleam. I'm going to have to Double Edge the Snorlax, and I get hit with quite a bit of recoil damage. Then the Incineroar is a 1-hit with Dazzling Gleam, and last up is the Ninetales. I don't think there's anything Ninetales can really do. I do struggle deciding what to do. In the end, I decide, should I go for Double Edge or Dazzling Gleam? Because the Ninetales does have great special defense. In the end though, I decide to go for Double Edge. I get a critical hit, 1-shot, and survive the recoil. Wigglytuff has first tried Kukui, which Clefable cannot say. It got a time of 2 hours, 53 minutes, and 9 seconds, with 17 resets, 12 blackouts, at level 80, with a game time of 11 hours and 10 minutes. So yeah, Wigglytuff was able to reduce the deficit by quite a decent bit. At the Pawnee Island split, Clefable was ahead by 18 minutes and 5 seconds, and now Clefable only leads by 12 minutes and 58 seconds, so it was able to reduce the deficit by almost 5 minutes. That is 100% because of the Kukui resets that Clefable had. But you know what though, it doesn't really matter. I think everybody knew that despite what the Melee Island split said, Clefable was just going to be far superior to Wigglytuff in pretty much every way. But if we take a quick look at the tier list, Clefable was able to land its spot at the very top of the C tier, and Wigglytuff in the middle of the D tier. You know what, the D tier is just the normal type tier at this point. Clefable was able to outperform Simisage, Gyarados, Sandslash, and Silvally without access to Z crystals. It was not able to beat Incineroar, Venusaur, Primarina, and Tapu Fini. Primarina and Incineroar also did not have Z crystals yet. Wigglytuff was sandwiched right in between Pidgeot and Fearow. It did better than Fearow, but worse than Pidgeot. And also, if you look at the very end of the C tier, you can see Silvally. So literally 4 normal types in a row. I think we can determine that normal types in Sun and Moon are not that great. And I hope y'all are starting to realize that. Just stab return just doesn't carry like it used to anymore. It also doesn't help that the TM is so late in the game. But anyway, I hope y'all enjoyed. Please like, comment, and subscribe if you want to see more. And be sure to follow me on my socials or support the channel through YouTube memberships. YouTube members get access to the unedited footage for these runs, which are both up right now. And members only sections include the Mega Evolution backport patches for Crystal, like if you want to play them yourself. Next week though, we're going to be playing with 2 other interesting stone evolutions. Yeah, I have no idea why the Kanto Dex just has so many stone evolutions so close to each other. We're going to be playing the Ninetaleses, Cantonian Ninetales and Alolan Ninetales. They're both going to start with pretty good abilities and pretty good moves, so I'm really looking forward to playing them. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video.